Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to What Do You Say Anime's Fall Preview. I am your host, Pete, along with my co-hosts, Miles and Pat. We will be discussing some of our most looked forward to new shows for the upcoming anime season, along with some of the sequels that we will be salivating over. If you are looking for a specific show, in the description below will be timestamps for each show that we are talking about. For how absolutely stacked next season is, we will not be able to talk about every show in detail. However, if you are interested in talking about this season, future seasons, or anime in general, join our Discord using the link tree below. Gentlemen, before we jump into the heat of things, I wanted to get your thoughts on the overall realm of next season's lineup, along with what you're sipping on this episode.
Yeah, so I'm just drinking some gin tonight,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna need it because Chainsaw Man is coming up next season. But other than that, I'm pretty excited about the season. There's, other than sequels, nothing that I'm super looking forward to. Actually, that's a lie. I just remembered something. But for the most part, there's nothing that I'm like, oh my god, I have to watch it. But I do think I'm gonna find like a pet show or two in there because there's a lot of stuff that feels like it's like 70% on the mark, and I bet some of it will get there. So I'm pretty excited to at least check these shows out and see what sticks for me.
There you go. All right. And then as for me, yeah, I don't know. I'm more interested in the sequels this season than any of the new stuff that's coming out. And I'm super excited for like Spy Family Part 2. I can't wait to keep watching that show, Golden Kamuy season 4. They keep the train going on that show as well. There's a couple though. There's a couple like historical shows and stuff that are coming out, and a lot of movies this season that are coming out that I am very very interested in. So there's a good balance, I think. Good balance of stuff to talk about. And I am sipping on Toucan, which is a local brewery that does a beer, nice easy ale, easy to sip on, easy to drink. And Pete, what about you? What are you drinking
I
tonight?
am sipping on a Moscow Mule. I was given a great copper cup by my mother, so I was like, why not start making Moscow Mules in this thing? So that's what I'll be sipping on this episode.
Do you have simple syrup and everything?
Nope, just use the stereotypical vodka, ginger beer, and lime.
Okay.
But you know
Well, you're
what? It
missing
makes
an
it makes a
ingredient.
decent Moscow Mule. I'm not gonna lie. It's not too shabby.
It's a
But
Moscow donkey because it's missing the horse.
It's missing. Yeah.
I mean I just like drinking alcohol. This is like 90% of a Moscow Mule is still pretty solid. So I'm a fan. But we are here to talk anime. And gentlemen, I know that we're so excited for this first one that we're gonna talk about. It's Chainsaw Man. In case you've been living under a rock, Chainsaw Man is about Denji. He has a simple dream to live a happy and peaceful life, spending time with the girl he likes. This is far from cry from reality. However, as Denji is forced by the Yakuza into killing devils in order to pay his crushing debt, using his pet devil Pochita as a weapon, he is ready to do anything for a bit of cash. Unfortunately, he has outlived his usefulness and is murdered by a devil in the contract with the Yakuza. However, in an unexpected turn of events, Pochita merges with Denji's dead body and grants him the powers of the Chainsaw Devil. Now able to transform part of his body into chainsaws, a revived Denji uses his new ability to quickly and brutally dispatch his enemies. Gentlemen, especially Pat, I want to get your thoughts on one of the most anticipated, I think, anime in years for the majority of people with Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. I'm only going first because this is my first time reading any sort of synopsis for Chainsaw Man. I've seen tons of discourse on it online. I've heard nothing but negativity from this specific Discord as well about this series. About it's mid. Oh, it sucks. It sucks. It's the worst. It doesn't do anything. Blah 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 blah. I don't know. All but then I see it go online and see people calling it like the best comic anime ever and bullshit like that. So I don't know. It's being done by Mappa. That was a very interesting synopsis. I did not know that he dies and then gets like brought back as a devil or something. Whatever it is.
Yeah, it's not a
Technically.
spoiler. It happens in chapter 1.
Right? Yeah. Like I did not know that. I also didn't. I don't know. I guess I really truly somehow avoided any sort of spoiler for or anything for this show somehow. I don't know. If it looks cool, it'll be a nice show to watch. I'm not. But again, like just hearing the critiques that I've heard about it, I like Denji
Denji, yep.
having just the most oppressively intolerant personality to be around. I would not. I don't think I would find the jokes that are made at his expense that funny because they're just to me they wouldn't be, and I think that'll be a pretty big problem for me with the show when I don't know, like that famous panel of him just being like, "Oh, I just want to touch some boobs" or whatever. Like that's like funny, but then when you realize it's like 5 or 6 times that happens in the show, right, or whatever, that's when you're just like, really? Is this like the only joke that you guys have at this guy's expense? I'm sure he's awful in other ways too. Like there's definitely different ways that you could make fun of this guy. Again, I'm excited because it's something that a lot of not only anime fans like casuals are getting very excited about. I think a bunch of my old roommates would love to like get excited about the show or would watch an episode and be enjoying it. So it's good for anime that it's coming. So especially in the West. So I think I'm I think I'm more neutral than anything else that's going to come out in the next 5 minutes. So you guys might want to skip if you're a Chainsaw Man fan.
I should have put a disclaimer when I said that you should join our Discord. If you're a fan of Chainsaw Man, probably don't join our Discord. We have
Just don't talk about it.
It's not because we don't want you here, but it's because we don't. Well, we have people who like it now. People have joined, so I don't. Maybe do join our Discord and join the small but growing faction of pro Chainsaw Man people. However, saying that, the fact that Mappa's doing this, I think, is like pretty cool. I think that if you had to pick a studio to do them, Mappa's a very good one. And I think that Chainsaw Man is something that if they animate correctly, could be like really, really cool to watch. Like manga just doesn't like do it for me, action-y wise sometimes, but like sometimes when you have like really smoothly animated stuff, like it can do that. And that could make up for Denji existing. I'm not a huge Denji fan. I'm not a huge Chainsaw Man fan. And I think that's in relative to like how hype people get about it, and I get why they get hype about it. Really, really hype things happen in it. But I hate fun, so it's not
True.
it's not my thing. But it has a lot of characters I like, and it also has characters I hate. Pete, what are you thinking for Chainsaw Man?
Well, it's gonna be interesting to see how they adapt some of the panels that I think that stick out, and some of the panels that I believe that are not good in the manga but can be very aesthetically pleasing in the anime. I think one thing that Chainsaw Man suffers from is its pacing. However, if we're getting 2 cores for 97 chapters, I think it can do a better job at expressing some of the things that I found disinteresting in the manga. So I'm looking forward to seeing if the story can maybe slow down just a little bit in the anime and be able to adapt some of these chapters more slowly, because I also believe that there are some chapters in the manga that can just straight up be cut and you're not going to miss anything. So it'll be interesting in that aspect how they handle that. Me and Miles are both people who have read Chainsaw Man, so that's why I want Pat to go first. My issues with Chainsaw Man are more in the second half of the story than the first half. I think that this story is going to be a whole lot of fun in the beginning. I've seen the PVs. It looks absolutely beautiful. Mappa is clearly putting a shit ton of their budget into this story, and kind of like everything else is to the side, I feel like, for at least the next 6 months with Chainsaw Man. And all their other projects are just going to be like whatever. Like the Yuri on Ice movie has been in production for, I don't know, 5 years or something. Like they clearly know where they should put their money in, and I get it. I just wish we could get Ice Adolescence sooner rather than later. But that being said, I'm really looking forward to at least seeing how beautiful this anime looks. It wouldn't be surprising if this is like the best animated show of the year, or at least one of like the top 6 or something like that. It looks like they do a really good job of mixing both the hand-drawn stuff with the CG. I'm looking forward to seeing how Power is adapted. Miles hates Power. She's my favorite character in Chainsaw Man, so I'm looking forward to that. Her voice actress seems a little different than what I was expecting Power to sound like. But like I think this is going to be one of these shows where, I mean, let's be real. It's probably going to be the next like Demon Slayer. Like people are going to be jizzing their pants over this. It's already peak everywhere on Twitter. Like, yeah, Chainsaw Man is peak. While I tell those people that they should maybe expand their horizons a little bit and check out some other stories that do this better. Doro Hedoro, and just really, I don't know. I'm fine with people enjoying this. It's just, this is not my cup of tea. It's not Miles's cup of tea. It's more than likely not going to be Pat's cup of tea.
Thank goodness you approve of other people enjoying this.
100%.
That's really important. I have a really dumb question, if you don't mind me interjecting. Just looking at the characters that are here. For one, if anything bad ever happens, no reacting to this. If anything bad ever happens to Kobani, then the show is a 0. And also, are there other male characters other than Denji? Because all of these are just
Aki.
Okay.
is not only like the best character, but he is also the other male character.
Oh, it looked like in the picture that he had pigtails. No, that's just the dude.
And when you're looking through there, the character that has kind of a spoilery name, but it's like an ironic name, is also male.
Angel Devil is.
I was, yeah.
You're doing that on purpose. Well, yeah, but like, what kind of name? What kind of a name? Well, if that's their name, then like, what else?
Well, it's just like the so they're the no, we can cut this. They're like the Angel Devil. So there's like the Chainsaw Devil, and there's also the Angel Devil.
Oh,
yeah. If you do anything about like One Piece, you know how there's like gum fruits. Think of that, but with devils. Where just literally everything could be a devil. Literally anything could be a devil. The joke going on right now that is Kobani. They're hoping Kobani gets the sloppy top devil, which is like, I don't know why, but that's the thing on Twitter right now. Yeah, right. It's like, what is happening
with anime fans?
I don't know, but that's literally like
I don't know.
But like, if you think it could happen, there could be a donut devil.
Yeah, so the devil's power is like proportionate to how afraid people are of them. So, you know, like
so if you're afraid of death, then the Angel Devil would be really strong against you, I guess.
Well, the Death Devil, yeah. Like, so
there's a Death Devil, like a figure.
Yeah. So like, you know, like the Darkness Devil is probably stronger than the Butterfly Devil. You know, like that's how that works.
The power system is kind of good. Oh, Miles, it'll be interesting how they handle a certain character and their devil as well, because it was a mistranslation in the English manga.
Yeah, it was. I think that they'll go. The concepts are similar enough that I think that they'll just continue with what we know them as.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting. Also, they're my favorite character.
Oh, okay.
I have issues.
Okay.
It's a red flag, as Jay would say.
Yes, it would.
I clicked on a spoiler for a character. You could have given me a dozen guesses for what the spoiler would have said, and I would not have gotten it right.
I'm gonna guess it's power doesn't flush the toilet.
No,
yep, that's a spoiler.
Is that okay? Well, good to know. Won't use the bathroom after she does.
Yeah, no, for sure. So normally how we do this is it's like a must watch, consider it if you like it, or like absolute skip. I think for me, this is an absolute must watch, just because if you want to be involved in like, I think like the anime, like I guess like our context of like as podcast people being on Twitter, Discord, that stuff like that, it's going to be talked about as soon as the episode drops. It's going to be by far the most popular seasonal for next season. So I think just in that aspect for me, it's a must watch. I think if you're 18 and under, it's a must watch. I think if you're a little older, I think this is going to be like a consider it if you liked Doro Hetero, that style of like goofy comedy horror type of thing.
Yeah, I'm going to put this as a must watch as well. I mean, I didn't even really enjoy the manga overall. Like, I mean, I did, but it was like not like something I was like, I need more of this or whatever. But I think it's definitely like a must watch. It's just so popular that you got to see how they're going to do it, and if it can live up to the hype, and if they can translate like really interesting still frames into being cool animated wise. There's a few spreads that I'm thinking of that are really awesome in the manga, and I don't know how well they would translate to anime. But then also the fights I thought were pretty bad in the manga, and this is like a way to make that lacking part even better. So I'm just really excited to see how they do it. Because there's a few tweaks they could do to make this like a really good show if they fix some pacing issues and change a little bit of dialogue. You know,
like you guys have said, it's a must watch just so that you can be part of the spectacle. You know, you can be along for the ride. You don't not watch the Super Bowl because you don't like football, right? You watch it because you're trying to fit in and you want to be able to talk to people the next day about it or whatever. So I think even if the show doesn't pique my interest that much, I think I'll probably at least tune in for the first few episodes and from there ride it out or not, depending on how annoying Denji is to me. I guess
But,
we'll have to find out.
yeah, that will be interesting. So mostly from the Arcast is probably go watch it, check it out at least, give it the old 3-episode try. I have a feeling that 99% of people are going to continue watching it. I would be surprised if people thought that this was like a negative instead of like a overwhelming positive, which I'm kind of feeling out. So that's Chainsaw Man. Next up, we're going to be talking about a anime that I'm pretty intrigued by, and normally I wouldn't be intrigued by something like this, but just because of how well it's selling in terms of like manga sales, that's kind of like the biggest factor for me. So we're going to be talking about Blue Lock. After reflecting on his current state of the Japanese soccer world, the Japanese Federal Football Association decides to hire an enigmatic, eccentric coach, Jinpachi Ego, to achieve their dream of winning the World Cup. Believing that Japan has lacked in a egotistical striker hungry for goals, Jinpachi ignites the Blue Lock, a prison-like facility where 300 talented strikers from high schoolers all over Japan are isolated and pitted against each other. The sole survivor of Blue Lock will earn the right to become the national team's striker, and those who are defeated shall be banned from joining the team forever. So this is essentially what happens if we have Survivor in a soccer prison. Gentlemen, want to get your thoughts, if you have any, on Blue Lock?
I don't know, Pat, you got anything?
I do actually.
Okay,
For
you
one,
go.
Japan has had plenty of egotistical strikers, so this is not based in our current real world because just Keisuke Honda alone has enough ego as a striker to put anyone to shame. Like to really like I don't know. I think that that's a funny idea. The idea that like we need someone who's selfish. We need someone up top. We've got a good team, but we just don't have someone with that like killer edge that just wants to score and wants no one else to score. And it's like that's like I guess that's kind of the mentality you would want your striker to have. I don't know. I wouldn't myself. I'd want a team player, but I can see where they're coming from at least. I just hate sports anime so much, man.
Yep.
I really I've never gotten behind them ever. I think I've enjoyed like 2.5 of the 3 that I've watched fully. So and one of them's about figure skating, and then the other is I can't even think of what the other one would be. I guess ping
Ping
pong.
pong?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ping pong. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, duh. That's the only other one really. I don't know. It's just like what. Just go watch actual soccer. There was you want to watch soccer? Go watch the Premier League. We're gonna dox what day to be recorded, but Human Son just scored a hat trick in 13 minutes after coming off the bench as a sub because he was mad that he didn't that he didn't start. Like an incredible 6-2 game today. Like go watch that. Don't go watch anime. Like fuck man.
Well, let me ask you this: is the idea of them having like this essentially like competition where you essentially like if you're not good enough you get eliminated, it comes down to like the top like whatever strikers in Japan have like this drama element that is kind of like what I gravitate animes for, where it's like outlandish, that the fact that this is essentially a prison that they are trying to like be better at. I mean, kind of even if you look at like something like China where they like start having like their children start playing like competitive ping pong at 3. What do you feel about like that like real world essence in an anime, but in this case it's soccer? Does that do anything for you?
Not really, because it is a little bit. Obviously, it's exaggerated here, but like it is in real life too with soccer. I mean, kids start playing for academies at a very young age, and parents start forcing them to start at an even younger age too. I just think it's a little too silly for me, and I just can't imagine watching a soccer anime as someone who just adores soccer and lives and breathes it. I can't imagine like there's literally a World Cup happening in 2 months. Watch that. Like I'm sorry. I just it drives me insane to think that someone would rather watch an anime version of the World Cup or a competition, even if there's like all these drama elements, like you can find those in real life too. Like that's a very realistic thing that players are competing for spots on the team. And also this is, and you want a striker that scores consistently. You don't want one that like blows everyone out of the water in like 2 games and then doesn't do anything for the rest of the season. Like I'm not a good person to ask this question. I realize that. It's also done by 8-Bit, who's done like Slime and like nothing else relevant. So
Whoa, Infinite Stratos, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, how could I
Harem
forget?
Staple, Infinite Stratos.
Fruits of Grisai?
Oh, Harem Staple, Fruits of Grisai.
Oh, yes, of course. My deepest apologies to Haz.
Blue Lock is my favorite harem staple going forward, though.
Fruits of Grisai being a harem is actually against the source material, and I'm repulsed by it.
Sorry, homie.
Yeah. So when you
Watch
put it that way, I will never watch that anime, Pete. I mean, I did give Birdie Wing a 9.
Yes, you did.
So, and I will stand by that.
Sports anime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about golf.
Okay.
My thought is that this, because of the death game aspect to it, death game, right?
Death game.
Do they die? Wait, so do they actually
No,
die?
no,
or
no. They
just-
but
just
it's
get
like-
barred from playing soccer.
It'd be better.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
get
that
barred
would
from
be
playing
insane.
soccer?
Yeah, they get
So-
barred from playing soccer or whatever.
Ever
So, like,
again? Oh my god. This
So
is-
like, yeah, but like that's so like unnecessarily melodramatic that it reminds me of like Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So like there's a chance, depending on how seriously this takes itself, that I could watch it. So what my strategy for this would be is to wait for Pete to tell me if I'll like it or not, because he'll know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, okay, so for me, it's things like this manga has like 25 million copies sold, like something insane. Where only like Haikyuu sells better than Blue Lock. It has an 8.4 on Mal. I see it talked about a lot in terms of what like who's next type of thing. Where like Haikyuu's done, like who's next for sports anime, and everyone's answer essentially is Blue Lock. So the hype behind Blue Lock is kind of like what makes me gravitate more towards watching the show, like probably instead of like waiting a few days, maybe towards the must watch area, just because I want to see how insane this is. I want to see how crazy this is. The concept itself is like it feels very anime like, which is like what I gravitate towards in the shows that I watch. So if I see that, I'm gonna be hooked because I do like sports anime. However, I feel like this is where I'll bring it back to Chainsaw Man. I feel like the people who like Chainsaw Man like Blue Lock, which is a concerning thing for me. So I am leaning more towards like, consider this if you're a fan of like shonen like sports stuff. Like I didn't really like Kuroko no Basket, and this feels a little bit more towards Kuroko no Basket than like Slam Dunk, where it wouldn't be surprising if one of these strikers is, I don't know, a wizard or a shaman or something like that, because why not? Like it's
See, I think that would be
anime.
way cooler though, because to Pat's point, if you want to watch people play soccer realistically, you can go and watch the World Cup or something. But if this is like magic people play soccer, like that's not something you can go and watch, right? Like what if soccer happened with fucking superheroes or whatever? Like that's that's what you get from anime that you can't get for real life.
See, I think that's where we can have conflicting opinions, because like I don't mind like the realistic aspect of sports in anime, where a lot of people like Pat just like just go watch soccer. Like if you want to watch soccer, just go watch like real soccer. And to me, like I'm in the camp where I can do both, and I enjoy like the realistic of like Haikyuu, for example, with volleyball. Like I'm a fan of that aspect of the sports in anime, but I didn't like Kuroko no Basket, where there's literally somebody whose power is he can't miss. He literally shoots 100% from 3-point, and I'm like,
well, that's just bad writing.
It's terrible, and I don't understand why people like the show. It drives me crazy, but like, it's just like it's me going into this knowing nothing about Blue Lock other than like it's hyped as fuck. It's super shonen, it sells well, and it's about soccer. So I'm just gonna put this in like the considerate category if you're a fan of Kirk or No Basket, if you're a fan of like even like Food Wars, I feel like it's something along those lines where it's outlandish in its style of storytelling with like the shonen element, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would say even if you're like a fan of haiku and stuff, like I think that like maybe it's a little like it looks like the intensity is like a notch above haiku,
Mm-hmm.
but haiku is really popular. People really like it, and it does give me some haiku vibes, right? You have the orange-haired guy, the guy who has the glasses, the guy who looks like he's a good player who has black hair. It's basically the whole gang. So I mean, I don't know. I definitely agree that it's like, if I had to guess where it was, I would say it's somewhere between Kuroko no Basket and Haikyuu, because the scenario they're in is certainly more absurd than we are playing volleyball in a high school.
Yep.
But I don't have the sense from this that people are going to be like channeling Charles Barkley's spirit
For sure.
to dunk from half court.
That would be sick, though.
That would be really cool. It'd be very bad in a soccer match, but
Space Jam is my favorite anime.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Pat, your thoughts?
The FIFA 2022 World Cup starts on November 20th, 2022. I suggest you watch that and enjoy real soccer. That is my thoughts.
All right, so that's I'm getting 2 considerates and 1 like hard pass. Watch the World Cup.
Yes.
All right, cool.
And if you want to watch the USA, they play the next day against Wales on the 21st of November.
Perfect.
So,
Remember to pirate the World Cup, though.
Oh yeah, because it's in Qatar. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What? No, they've already made their money from it. They
That's
can't make
true.
any
You're
more.
right. I'm
They've
still
already
gonna
sold
I'm
the
still
TV
gonna
deal.
pirate though.
Oh yeah, good point.
Just watch it on Fox. I don't know. Easier that. Don't risk anything.
Make me. Okay, next up is the most Pete show I've ever seen in my entire life. It's called Do It Yourself. Do It Yourself follows high school girls working on do-it-yourself projects as they struggle, fail, yet don't give up on these projects they see through to go to the end. The story depicts the lives of those girls as they take their first step towards the future. Guys, I'll be straight up honest. I'm just hoping this is laid back camp with power tools. I'm not expecting either of you to watch it. However, because this is the most Pete show of all time, I had to include it. Gentlemen, your thoughts on Do It Yourself?
So, I have a dear friend. Her name is Sarah, and I really wanted her to read Yumineko. So, Yumineko's really long, and so I was like, just send me a giant list of anime, and I'll go through them. On that list of anime were so many cute girls doing cute things shows. And I got through K-On! I started watching K-On!, and I was like, this is fine. And then by episode 12 of K-On!, if K-On! Had been 13 episodes, I think I would have snapped. But it wasn't. It ended right there. And I was like, okay. But I can't do that to myself again. Not right now. Not this quickly. Do It Yourself seems like a show that you for sure know if you've liked. If you've ever dabbled in this sort of genre before and you've enjoyed it, watch Do It Yourself. I think it looks like it's going to do it just fine. It looks calm and like it has fun little hijinks, and it's going to be a nice silly time or whatever. If you've never done a sort of slice of life, cute girls doing cute things sort of show before, I definitely suggest trying one. Wasn't for me, but it's for a lot of people. I don't think I would suggest starting with Do It Yourself. Do like Yuru Camp or K-On! Or one of those shows, but then if you find you like that, maybe give Do It Yourself a shot,
Miles, can I try to sell you on something real quick?
Yes.
What if I told you that the main girl's name was Juliet Queen Elizabeth VIII?
As I was saying, this is fiction, and I'm going to be watching it. Adding it to the plan to watch right now. Her name is Juliet Queen Elizabeth VIII.
It is.
She looks. Her name is Jobco, or that's her nickname, I guess, is Jobco. But yeah, Juliet Queen Elizabeth VIII.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah. You know what? I'm at least watching one episode of Do It Yourself. Nice.
Yes.
Oh, good sell.
Let's go. And people say I can't sell anime.
Oh my god. Well, that was such a specific Miles.
That was. Pat, what's your thoughts on Do It Yourself?
What is this? Why is this an anime? Like what?
Because it appeals to me. I'm the market.
It's says a lot about you, Pete. No, I'm kidding.
No,
I
no
don't know,
offense
man.
taken.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, the only problem is this studio, Pine Jam, has only had the only show that they've ever had that's like successful is a
Say it.
sign-in.
Say
It's a
it.
sign-in.
No, no, no. You're so close. You're
No,
so close. You're
no,
so.
that's my point. The only show, I
You're
mean, they've
right
had
there.
Gamers was bad, Glepnir was very okay, Just Because was very okay, but their one sign-in show, Kageki Shoujo, was really good. So I don't expect this to have sign-in vibes though. So we'll have to see. Well, I don't know. This show, I'm sure will have like funny clips. Like this is one of those shows I think that you, or at least that I would, if I saw one of those YouTube compilations that kind of just rips the funniest scenes from the shows and compiles it down to 10 minutes. If I saw that for this show, I would watch that and then I'd be like, move on with my life and never think about it ever again. Not to be negative, but it just it's a good time sink. If you have the time, like Peter does, to sit there, go for it. you know.
Another thing that I want to say is that the character designs, the girls are doing do-it-yourself projects while wearing Jordans, so that's fucking dope as shit. So I'm a huge fan of that stylistic. Yeah, so for me, if you're a fan of Laid Back Camp, Biori, these bangers, slice of lives, this is gonna be right up your alley. I think this is an absolute must-watch. If you are not a fan of those, this is probably the most avoidable show of the season. So, pick your poison. Join me or join Pat in terms of which side you're joining us on. But for me, absolute must watch.
I mean, I would definitely, like, all jokes aside, going back to the sort of thing, if you know you like this kind of show, for sure give it a try. If you know you don't like the show, obviously pass it. And if you've never watched a show like this before, I would suggest trying to, but starting somewhere else.
I think that's really good advice. Start somewhere else. Start somewhere that's like more just like at least you'll know that you'll get the standard for this genre, which
Yeah.
that would be like Laid Back Camp or
K-On!, something like that.
Yeah, I was like, come on, Pat, name a second one.
Can I name a second one that's like liked by people?
Biori's liked by a lot of people.
Could be like Don't Make a Mug, though, which even Pete thinks is bad.
Hot garbage.
Yeah, so like, if it's a genre that isn't like super duper popular in like our online anime community, right? Like, and so don't go into a random show and then judge the genre like that. Like try to watch something that's higher up first. Is my advice.
All right. Yeah, cool. So that's 3 absolute must watches from the gang for do it yourself. Next up, this one looks insanely intriguing. The PV honestly blew me away. It's called Raven of the Inner Palace. Deep within the Inner Palace lives a special consort who does not serve the Emperor despite her position, known as the Raven Consort. People who have seen her say she looks like an old woman, while others say that she looks like a young girl. Stories talk of her use of mysterious arts and how she can take on any request, be it death curses to find lost things. The current Emperor goes to visit the Raven Consort with the intention, without knowing that their fated meeting will soon become a taboo that will overturn history. This is a fantasy historical. I believe it's also classified as a shoujo, maybe, but
Sign-in, I'm seeing.
Oh, is it? Okay, so
no.
I
was
going to say that too. Damn it.
The shoujo community on Twitter, at least, is super hyped for this. So, I don't know, gentlemen, if you have a chance to look at the PV or any of the art, but I want to get your thoughts on Raven of the Inner Palace.
So I haven't seen this before. This is like my first time looking at it, and this looks freaking awesome. The art looks super cool. The manga wasn't serialized, so we don't know what the demographic is.
I believe it was a novel.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna watch this. Gotta support it was just a novel. That's cool.
Yeah, no one's ever bought books in history. They should really become more popular.
Not on this podcast.
Really, I'm glad you're taking the stand to support novels in 2022, Miles.
That might not. That might seem like a no duh, but I get shit on for liking books in our Discord a fair amount. I posted a new book I got, and then, like, no one ever said anything about it, and I was like, yeah.
Never heard
The
of
only
it. My
channel,
bad.
only channel I have muted, so don't worry.
Yeah, but I mean, this looks really cool. It seems like it has like a cool mysterious vibe to it. And I like the historical setting for things like this. The main character being this sort of enigma that people don't see or experience the same way is really cool. Gives me maybe like a little bit of Mononoke vibes.
I was thinking, or like the Tale of Princess Kaguya, like a little bit. I feel like
Yeah,
that,
I
like
mean,
that's her style of character. It feels like.
there's like a lot of cool stuff about that. It's neat, and if Pat doesn't like this, he's a hypocrite for who his favorite Zombieland Saga character is. So.
Ooh.
Yeah, he knows. He know. Well, that's the thing. That's why this is on my list, right? This is one of the ones I wanted to talk about. I saw the theme being historical, and I was immediately like, "Oh, this could be cool." And then the fantasy genre is a little interesting because, like, I feel like the description reads more as a supernatural than mystery, or not mystery, sorry, fantasy. Like I know I'm very curious to see where this story goes. It's done by Bandai Namco Pictures as well, which they've only done basically Gintama, all of Gintama, or most of it at least, and then
You're missing the
Welcome to
biggest
Demons.
one.
Welcome to Demon School, Rumakun. I'm not missing it. I'm getting there.
Okay.
And then of course the biggest one, Battle Spirits Saga Brave.
There it is.
Yes, of course.
There it
Yeah,
is.
no, obviously they've also done Birdie Wing, right? And that's their most recent thing that I think they've done actually too. Yep, Birdie Wing. So there you go. That's a good sign because it could be fun at least. But also if this is meant to be more serious, that's kind of bad, right? That Gintama, Birdie
Are
Wing.
you saying Birdie Wing wasn't serious?
Watch your mouth, Patrick.
Damn. That was the 0.5, the other 0.5 of sports shows that I've liked. So, going back 20 minutes ago.
Because it's half sports show and half historical drama.
Yeah, exactly. Well, half mafia story, gang related, whatever. I don't know. I think this could be good though. The art style's pretty, and like Miles said, I'm a simp for consorts, and like most people would be, right? Because it's kind of like what their job is. And I like historical settings in Japan. I find them interesting. So I'll be very curious to see how this show turns out.
I'm looking forward to getting into the essentially like the aspect of what this show is going to be like. If you watch the PV, the music is really encapsulating. It seems like this is going to be a show where kind of like a Made in Abyss, where you could probably close your eyes and feel the emotion of what's going on. I was pretty blown away by the PV, to be honest. It was one of these shows where it was on my radar. I didn't really think too much about it. The art looks nice, and I watched the PV and I was like, oh damn, like this show looks like it's going to be something else. I guess like my favorite anime of all time is based off of a novel. Kind of hoping that I get some better writing in a story like this because it is based off of a novel where I am going to fall in love with it. I'm hovering on that like must watch, consider it level right now because I can only base it off of what I've seen on a minute and a half PV, where I don't know anybody who has read the novel. I don't even know if it's like accessible in English, to be honest. So because of that, what's up?
Your favorite anime is based off of a light novel?
Well, it has
novel.
it has novel in it. It has novel in it.
I'm being a dick.
Yeah, you are what you eat. So it's like
You got a problem with that?
nothing, man. It's 2022.
Okay.
Sounds like
we're all sucking toes, baby. Yeah, this show looks honestly spectacular. For me, I think it's a must watch. I'm gonna put it in like the consider it if you're a fan of Tale of Princess Kaguya, Violet Evergarden, these novel based dramas that's what I'm assuming this is going to be like. So that's kind of like where I'm leaning right now.
Yeah, I would say it's a definite. I'm not going to say it's like a must watch. I'm going to say this a lot. It's such a cheesy answer, but like if you get the feeling that this is a show you'll like, check it out, and then otherwise wait and see if people are like really hyping it up because it does feel like it might be pretty slow for people. I know that we as a group tend to like things like that, but other people, that's why they gravitate towards like Chainsaw Man and everything, right? Like there's something always happening and it's action packed and like so much entertainment is fit into 20 minutes. Where things like this or Violet Evergarden or Mononoke or whatever are like, you have some like spread out stuff. It's like a slow ride and it's like, an experience that you like take everything in or whatever. And, not everyone likes that. They like, more fast paced kind of stuff. And that's my thought, but maybe it'll be fantastic. And if you hear people talking about it, especially a show like this, if you hear people talking about this show regularly, the show must be phenomenal. Because it does feel like a show that's not going to be super popular to begin with. Like it's not like a whole bunch of people aren't diving on this bandwagon. So if it starts gaining speed, like your boy Kong Ming or something like that, be sure to check it out.
I think anyone that likes historical shows, you only get 1 or 2 of them a season. So it's a must watch for people like that. So for people like me, I'm not fully invested in it though either, where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna finish it no matter what. I definitely think that after a few episodes, if I don't know, to put it very bluntly, like bored as shit, or it goes a little weird with the story, and it isn't something I would want to follow, then I think it'd be a pretty easy thing to drop too, because no one's gonna get mad at you because no one knows what it is. And there you go. You can just silently drop it and it won't matter. The name Raven as well, or the fact that they're using the bird of a raven to describe for the consort is, I think, is very interesting too. I think that could be a fun little thing that they play off of like throughout the story, knowing how ravens are usually used in novels and in like stories. I think that'll be something to watch out for. But yeah, so I'd say most people probably won't care about this show, but I think a couple of us might.
Yeah. Yep. I think I'm getting that vibe as well. So mostly overall positive on this show.
Heki Monogatari is another one. If you watched that and enjoyed that, check this out for sure.
Yes, that's a really good one as well. Next up, we have Pat's favorite genre, witches. We have Mobile Suit Gundam, the Witch from Mercury, an era where a multitude of corporations have entered the space and built a huge economic system. A lone girl from the remote planet of Mercury transfers to this school of technology run by the Burnetic Corp, which dominates the mobile suit industry. Her name is Suletta Mercury. With a scarlet light burning in her pure heart, the girl walks step by step through a new world. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first Gundam with a female lead, so that's interesting. But gentlemen, want to get your thoughts on Mobile Suit Gundam, the Witch from Mercury?
I'm super hyped about this. I saw the PV for it. I've never seen the Gundam before, but like I saw the PV and it had like this awesome space theme and showed like her silhouetted by the planet in the background, and I was like, oh, I should check this out. And they had a prologue episode which sort of sets the setting, and it's like maybe 10 years in the past from when this is taking place, and that was really good. And so that was it was like pretty dark too. I don't think this show was going to at least start out with that sort of tone, but it sort of seems like it might start off in like a school setting, and then I don't know if anyone's played Three Houses. I know that I don't think either of you guys have the Fire Emblem game, but if any of our audience has, I think it might be a similar thing to that, where they go to school and it's like, yeah, we're in school, and then like there's like a time skip, and then everyone who is in school is now part of different factions, and they do government things against each other.
Yeah,
which would feel pretty Gun to me. I think the character design is cool. The animation is awesome, at least in the prologue. And I just find the title Witch from Mercury very evocative, which is what drew me to it. It combines many of my favorite things, that being space and witches. So I don't know. I'm not like a huge mecha fan or whatever, but it's not like the end of the world for me. So I'm excited to finally give like a Gundam a try, and maybe this could get me into some of the other series. I don't know.
Yeah, the title caught my eye when I just read it. I think Pete sent us a list of shows that we might want to look at a few days ago, and I woke up to it, and I saw the word witch, and I was like, oh, Interesting. I somehow skipped over the Gundam part, like, in my head, so I got really excited, and then I was like, "Oh, it's a Gundam show," like, which isn't a bad thing, I should say, I should preface that with that. It's not like it's gonna be bad because of that, I just have never been that interested in Gundam. I'm not a big mecha guy either, even though I really like a couple mecha shows. For me, the mecha, like, that's not what I care about. I care about the stuff going on around it. Like the drama, melodrama, whatever, the war, political drama, anything along those lines. That's usually associated with a mecha show. So the prequel, well, it's just again, I also just feel intimidated by Gundam usually because it's like, well, am I gonna not get stuff because I haven't seen the rest of Gundam?
This is a standalone series, which is important to note. So you can watch
Yeah.
this without having watched any other Gundam and get everything, or at least only miss, Easter eggs and things
Right,
like
like
that.
little references or whatever.
Yeah. It's
That makes me feel better.
like an alternate universe or whatever. So this is like a standalone thing for Gundam.
Well, that at least makes me a little more interested. I'll definitely watch a couple episodes to see what's going on there. I actually don't really like the character designs. Just looking at them, they kind of are ugly. I don't know, to me. I just think that they look weird. Their hair is a little too anime, I think, for me. But
I'm
of course,
curious how this one girl gets her helmet on.
yeah, Panluch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how did all of them get their? I can barely like I don't have that long hair right now, and I can barely put a hat on. Right, like
Well, you
it's
would wear like a hairnet or whatever if you were like an astronaut, but not like I'm sure they have a fancy astronaut hairnet. But
yeah.
I mean, she looks like she has a lot. I mean, she has a lot of hair. That's
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. That's not something a hairnet would be able to help out. But who knows? It is the year 122 AS or Ad Stella, and maybe they've got technology that makes their in their helmets that makes their hair shrink down or something. I don't know. I'd give it a shot. It's also done by Sunrise, which is a good sign, right? Bebop, Code Geass, so they've got experience in the genre of space and mecha as well. Couple Gintama movies, it looks like, as well. So they've got some good, and also Gundam experience too.
Oh yeah,
So
they did
there you
all
go.
the Gundams. Sunrise has done
Mhm.
all the Gundams.
And they did
There
the
you go.
most important show of all time.
Daily Life of High School Boys.
I was gonna say Love Live School Idol Project, but
That's a banger. You ain't wrong.
And they did Escaflowne, the original,
Ooh, yep. I mean, if it's
the original series.
if it's
so,
if
did
it's
they do the movie though?
no,
I don't think
Okay.
so.
That's a plus.
Yeah, if it's mechs, it's like it's either Sunrise or Trigger. It's like it's a roll of the dice. I'm intrigued to see because this is more teenage centric, where it's not like a political war like most Gundams are. Is this going to be more Code Geass? Is this going to be more Darling in the Franxx esque, or are we going to get that political drama still with the wars that they have dealt with? So
From the prologue, there's at least going to be a backdrop of this political stuff, right?
Okay.
Like the prologue has some basically like a corporate coup happens.
okay,
In the prologue, and so this is very like corporations going at each other.
gotcha.
From what I can understand, and this takes place after that has happened. So I think that it'll sort of be similar to Code Geass, right? Where you start off and you have like this school stuff and there's this background of this war happening. And then as time goes on, it becomes less school centric and more, political maneuvering and all of that. Obviously no one knows what's going to happen,
Yep.
but that would be my guess from what we know now.
Okay, sounds good. Well, like if it is Code Geass is, I had to double check, my number 16 anime of all time. I love Code Geass. I think it's so much fun. So if it's anything like that, I am going to be fully invested in this show. I know when me and Pat went to AX, this was like super heavily advertised. I saw so much Witch of Mercury stuff all around the con. I think that they want this to be a big deal. If I'm not mistaken, this is multiple cores. I don't know if it's it's 4.
That's what I've heard.
Okay, that's what I also heard, but I didn't want to say it just because I've been drinking. If it's a 4-core,
well, I haven't heard it, so maybe you two
perfect.
are lying, and there you go.
We're just a bunch
I'm not lying. I'm just
bunch
maybe
of
wrong.
liars. But if we're getting 50 episodes of this and it's like Code Geass, I'm fully invested in this. I think this is a must watch. At least, okay. Let me put it this way. I'm gonna put it as a must watch, depending on like how how it actually is in the first like couple episodes. If it's more like Gundam, where I'm not the biggest Gundam fan, I've watched Wing, I've watched like the Netflix movies. It's fine. I'm not the biggest Gundam guy. But if it's like Code Geass, if it's like Darling in the Franxx, where that if it's more like or like Gurren Lagann or something like that, I'm in. I'm all in. So I'm gonna put it somewhere in the middle right now, but I will give you my thoughts after like 3 episodes. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, so like I mean, I again would say for me this is a must watch. For everyone else, this is definitely a show that like it's a standalone. I think that's important to remember, and it also is something that if you I know people often say like they don't like mecha, and I'm like guilty of this too. It's like, oh, it's like mecha's not really my thing, but mecha isn't like really a genre as much as it is like an aesthetic. Um, because you can have mecha that are political dramas, you can have mecha that are action shows. You know, you can probably have a mecha romance if you tried really hard. You know, I would appeal to people to not let that turn off. But if you're not a fan of the whole Gundam aesthetic, which I completely get, but you hear good things about this, I would suggest giving it a try. It's good to branch out. And if you're not a fan of the Gundam aesthetic, and Gundam fans seem to be kind of like this on it, don't bother watching it. You know, that's what I would say.
Yep.
I'm probably pretty neutral on this. I think the fact that it's 4 cores and like Pete said I do remember now that it was getting very heavily advertised. The cover is cool. Like the cover art itself for the show is pretty cool. So give it a shot. I'd say give it a shot as well. Again, if it gets anywhere close to the peaks that Gundam or any other sort of the mecha sub genre, but subgenre or vessel for a story has ever gotten, then it'll be a good show and something worth watching.
Right on.
And they better include some sort of reference to either Mercury, the god himself, or astral something. I don't know. Like there has to be something
But
about the
she's
title.
literally from the planet Mercury.
Yes.
Well, then it should have like some sort of impact on her character or something.
I would hope so too. Maybe she's a witch.
It shouldn't just be like, oh, it's Earth, and then but it's Mercury now. Like no,
I think it's like their version of like someone from the backwoods or whatever. It's like she's from Mercury, so she's going to be culturally different than who she's around, basically.
Mm.
So
Okay.
Yeah, so I think
we'll
we're mostly positive on this. I think this is definitely a show where we need to see a couple episodes before we really have a better idea. Since this is an original, but Sunrise has a very good track record. I'm pretty positive that this is going to be at least a solid show. It'll be really interesting to see how it progresses from my expectations, whether it's good to great to amazing. So, looking forward to seeing The Witch from Mercury. Next up is a show that looks like a Pete show, but was actually Pat told me to throw this on here, and that is My Master Has No Tail. Mamida is a shape-shifting Tanuki girl who dreams of becoming a human someday. One day she turns into a black-haired beauty and heads out to Osaka, but is soon discovered. One beautiful woman relentlessly says to the depressed Mamida, "Go back to where you came from." Wow, where did I hear that before? Calls herself a Rakugo-ga, a Rakugo storyteller. The Taisho Rakugo fantasy that will make your smile begins here. So we are getting a slice of life, supernatural, I'm assuming kind of comedy Rakugo storytelling, kind of similar to, minus the supernatural, the ever popular manga Akane Banashi. So gentlemen, want to get your thoughts on My Master Has No Tail.
I saw the historical theme and I was like, wow, we get 2 of them this season. That's cool. And I read the synopsis as well, and I was like, oh, this sounds like it could be cool. Like, I don't know if it's based in historical Japan and it talks about, I guess, oppression or in this case, I guess, would it be, I guess it's racism or maybe xenophobia, depending on if they're, why she dislikes the Tanuki girl. I don't know. I thought it could be interesting to see what happens, but I also thought to myself, yeah, this looks like a Pete show. The art style reminded me of Taisho Tony
Yep.
Fairy Tale as well. made by Lydon Films as well, who are a pretty solid studio. You know, they don't have any like super bangers, but they're always like solid shows. I feel like, you know, always like 7 out of 10 material. Again, those were my main thoughts going into it, and I don't know, Tanuki.
Oh, they did
Tanuki's
Other Side Picnic.
Oh, what a
The best
banger.
show of all time.
What a banger that one was.
well, they do yeah, 7 out of 10. There you go. I don't know anything about that. Oh, that was the lesbian Beatty one, right?
Lesbian portal going through shotgun wielding.
The lesbians fight Eldritch Horrors.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool.
I wish it's as good as that description.
Yeah. I don't know. Tanukis are fun characters too. Knowing what their lore in Japan is really funny. I think a female Tanuki, especially, is a funny idea. Where are the balls? You know, that's the big question, right?
Oiki Kentama is how you would say large balls in Japanese.
And and Tanuki notoriously always, no matter what the lore is, have Koinki.
Okay, I don't know if I'm getting large right, but Kentama is balls and Oiki I think is large. So
what he said. So
yeah.
there you go.
I don't know. I'm drunk.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Could be cool. As you can see, I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel already for myself, though. In terms of stuff I'm interested in that's original. So, yeah, Pete, what about you? What do you
So
think?
I guess in terms of anime content, we really only have Rakugo Shinju in terms of Rakugo anime storytelling, stuff like that, which is a very serious drama. Where currently in Shonen Jump we have Akane Banashi, which is a comedy-driven Rakugo storytelling, which is a nice change of pace from. So this is leaning more towards the Akane Banashi side, which I'm a big fan of. I'm looking forward to checking out this show. I really knew nothing about it other than I thought that it was like. I thought it was like an Iyashiki. I thought this was going to be like a healing anime because the main character, I believe, or one of the main characters is a raccoon. So I was like, oh, it's Raftalia, and they're going to do cute stuff. So that's kind of like what I was thinking. I honestly didn't even know it was about Rakugo until right now. I'm intrigued. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the more silly side of Rakugo because it's not always. The storytelling that they tell in Rakugo doesn't always have to be a serious drama like it's portrayed in Rakugo Shinju. It can be funny as well. So I think this is going to be a cute storytelling anime. I'm going to put this in like, honestly, it's not even going to be close to must watch. I don't even know if I would put it in considerate because we've only had one real Rakugo show. Check this out if your power goes out and you're bored and for some reason Crunchyroll, the only show it's going to load is this one. So that's my recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Pete said. Like,
me neither. I've been drinking.
Okay.
I don't think it's like, I don't think it's that bad. I again, my cop-out answer is like, you know if this is your kind of show, right? Like, just looking at this, it reminds me of Taisho Fairy Tail. Just looking at it. I haven't watched Rakugo Shinju or anything, but I mean, I don't know. It looks like it could be like cute and fun and happy, and it's just like, yay, it's like a good time, and we all have a good time together. So, like, if you like things like that, go ahead. It doesn't say it's a comedy. So,
It just from like the still shots that I saw, it looks like they were like laughing and having fun. So I'm assuming it's going to be more along the lines of silly.
Yeah. That's fair. I think so too. I mean, yeah, I think this is like you had a hard day and you just want to sit down with a nice little cup of tea and be cheered up a little bit. Sit down with a mixed drink.
There we go.
And watch what Raftalia was doing before Nalphamy enslaved her.
Yeah.
Then, and I know that's not canonically how that happened.
Let's go with it.
You watch this show.
Really, you know that, Miles? That canonically is not how that happened? Damn.
I meant that Nalphamy wasn't the first person to enslave Raftalia. So, yeah.
Well,
it's technically
there's one step.
mangaka's fault. Yeah, he has
Yeah,
1 degree of separation from her
Well,
enslavement.
but the transitive property, I think, would still have.
Oh, you know what? She gets unenslaved, and then he re-enslaves her. So actually, he is. Never
Yeah,
mind.
there you go. Good job. So your joke was good. It was really, really good. I'm
We
so glad
got
we
there.
explained it, and then it
Which
made
is
it
how.
better.
That's the sign of a good joke when you
Yeah.
have to explain it.
Yeah, and when you have to pick it apart to make it make sense. I like that. You know, the sign that this is a comedy to me, ironically, is the fact that in the synopsis it says go back to where you came from, but it expects us to believe that those are the two main characters, and it's still an anime, like that looks like this. There's no way that this is like some serious critique on racism, right? Like there's just no way. There's no
No.
that's so it has to be comedic in some way then, because otherwise that line doesn't make any sense or wouldn't be like such a sticking point.
I
So
imagine it's just someone who is like, I don't want to deal with supernatural spirits. Go back to where you come from. Those spirits are such a hassle. And then she's like, let me tell you stories. And then she does.
I like that.
You guys don't have to watch the show anymore. I did the whole show.
Thank
for
you, Miles.
yeah, roll credits. There we go. My master has no tail. What's the title for too? Like what is that title? I'm curious.
Is it a pun on like tail, like TALE, and then tail, like maybe it's a tailless Tanuki now or whatever?
Yeah,
Because
but how
she's a
would that work?
raccoon.
Well, so translate the Japanese title then, please. Real quick, Miles, you, Mr. Expert at
Yeah,
Japanese.
you've done Duolingo before. What does that mean?
I let me read it. Give me a second.
Kutanmono
Google
is
Translate.
vegetables.
Google.
Yeah, so the direct translation in Japanese is "My master has no tail."
Hey, look at that.
So,
So I guess like but is that a pun because they know that a lot of Japanese people can translate it to English? Because like I can't imagine it's also a pun in Japanese, right? Like like tail and tail being the same word in
okay,
Japanese
wait.
is
Uchi
highly
means
unlikely.
home. So I don't know. I don't know
This is
Japanese
compelling
well enough to
stuff.
do that. I've
No,
been
I think this is compelling
Well,
stuff
this is
because
Pete. This is why you edit the podcast. That's
no,
why.
this is compelling in the sense that like it's relevant to how language works, and that's why it's cool, right? Like like a pun in English is not going to be a pun in Japanese unless it's an incredibly well thought out pun. So if that's the case, then this show might be a 4. And then otherwise it's going to be even worse, and it'll be whatever it is, but I don't care that we talked about it for 20 minutes somehow. So yeah.
I think it's more along the lines of the fact of like one of the characters is like a raccoon who turns into a human, and one of the other characters is not a raccoon and is a human, and then they don't have a tail, and then one of the characters does have a tail. I think it's along the lines of that.
So it's the
No, it
master
can't
of
be.
the house, though, because it's Uchi, which is Uchi means house. That's so interesting. Washipu.
I guess this is a must watch for episode 1 to find out who has a tail or not.
Shisho is master, right? It's like the
Yeah.
Yeah, Shisho is master, and then Shipu must be has? No, tail. Shipu must be tail. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
What does Shippuden mean? Like in Naruto Shippuden?
it means sequel. I don't know. Damn, no
I don't
laughs.
know what it
Okay.
means.
Do we have any final?
shitty
Do we have
joke.
any final thoughts on my master
Yeah,
has no
Pete,
tail?
for a joke to get laughs, it has to be funny.
Here, let me dissect it real quick.
Yeah, well, that's why.
That's why it
we're
wasn't funny.
Cut all of this. Just cut the entire thing.
No, this is great content.
Oh, this
I
is
don't know what you
hilarious
guys are talking
content.
about. Oh, it's so good. We're fantastic.
So yeah, if you like raccoons telling stories, go check out My Master Has No Tail. Gentlemen, we're moving on to our last non-sequel of the day. That is The Eminence in Shadow. Great heroes and diabolical villains are the types of characters that people long to be. But not Sid. In his previous life in modern-day Japan, he was not able to achieve. But now, reborn into a magical world, he will show his true eminence of shadow. This is a reincarnation action comedy fantasy, maybe isekai. Gentlemen, I want to get your thoughts on The Eminence in Shadow.
So this show was pitched to me as Konosuba meets Overlord. And that sounded interesting to me, because, like, in theory, Overlord should be an interesting show. And I think doing something like Overlord, but as like a comedy, would make it a lot more interesting, because in a comedy, it's a lot easier to have someone who's like 5D chessing everyone and overpowered and stuff like Ainz is, without it ruining any possible dramatic tension that the show may have, as is the case with Overlord. Because, I mean, and I guess you're not watching Overlord because you think Ainz might lose, but that's neither here nor there. So this seems like it could be fun, but it's an anime comedy and it's an isekai, so like also it could be terrible. I'm putting this between, like, is this either like a 4 or like an 8? That's like the two options for this for me, in my opinion. But like, I guess it could surprise me too, because like I'm a big fan of the other parody isekai that isn't Konosuba.
Realist Hero.
No.
Kimono.
Cautious Hero.
Cautious Hero. That's what I meant. Realist
So
Heroes. Don't watch that one.
no, so I actually do kind of like isekai parody animes a fair amount. So I'm excited to at least give this a try, and we'll see if it's any good or not.
I knew nothing about this before just now. Studio Nexus is really well known.
Yes.
If you look at their list, we got Darwin's Game and like 3 other random like cute girl shows, and then this. So we'll see.
Yo,
we'll see where
Comic
they
Girl
go.
slaps. Low key.
All right. So whoever is listening and knows Pete and the podcast, that's a horrible sign for this show. We'll have to see what the Eminence and Shadow has to offer. I like the cover art though. What, like the blurry character in the front interests me. Like what does that mean? Or is it not anything at all and I'm just overlooking or over anticipating stuff in the show? Like, am I giving it too much credit? I don't know. I'm at a loss for words, because I like Konosuba so much that it's like, why do I need another one? Just give me more Konosuba.
It does
So,
seem like it's like tonally different than Konosuba.
right, that too. Right, where it's not meant to be what Konosuba is. It's meant to be more something different. I can't even. I don't know. My brain's not working on this show for some
Less
reason.
like happy-go-lucky maybe, and more sort of mwahaha.
Yeah. Behind the
Right.
scenes, pulling the strings.
Yeah.
What's the word for that, Pete?
Diabolical. Who knows? My brain is also not working, but for different reasons. For me, let's see. A little concerns when I go to the front page of it on Mal. It shows 10 characters. 1 of them is a male. 9 of them are females. So that's not listed as a harem is kind of surprising, because it just has like screams harem fantasy written all over it. However, like Miles said, if it has anything to do with Konosuba, or if it's even if it's Konosuba Light, if this is the Bush Light of Konosuba, I'm gonna drink it. Like I'm gonna enjoy this and give it a 7. It has a decent score on Mal. I think like its light novel is like an 8.3 or 8.4, which is pretty solid. I would hopefully people have good taste where I can base what I think of this show off of its light novel score, but it also has a spin-off, so which shows that it's popular enough to have a spin-off manga, even though it's a light novel. So I think that this is probably be on like my back burner, I feel like, where if I'm watching, I think right now I'm at like 20 some shows, this will probably be like the 14th show that I watch for the week. That's kind of the vibes I'm getting with this. But I hope I'm wrong. And I think this isn't the one that's on Disney Plus, is it? I don't think it is. I know Disney Plus is getting Bleach, Time Machine Blues, and something else. I wasn't sure if this was the third one, so hopefully it's not on Disney Plus and I can enjoy it on Crunchyroll.
On High Dive.
High Dive.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I mean, all the girls besides either his sister or wife. I wonder which one it is.
Yeah, which one's his wife?
Maybe both. Who knows?
Are just named after letters of the Greek alphabet.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how I mean, it is a parody, so I imagine at least one of them will be like albedo-y towards him. But I don't know. I'm interested to see what it's like. It could for sure be like a harem or whatever. But if it's a parody, that's why you gotta, Konosuba has one man and like 60 dudes, so or one man and like 60 women or whatever. Like the ratio there isn't
And it's a
fantastically
harem.
different. So, um,
I'm just kidding.
Eh,
I'm just kidding.
it's like kind of one. Um, but if you okay, right, you click on more characters, you scroll down.
Yep.
Like 15 characters. You got this guy. You got some dude.
Jaga Emo. Yeah.
Okay, so of the 16 listed characters, 2 of them are male.
3.
Yep.
3, okay.
Oh yeah, this guy who doesn't even have a color photo.
Yeah.
Is also
He must be real important.
I was gonna comment the Greek alphabet thing, and then Miles stole my thunder. The only other thing I just noticed though, looking at it, it has some pretty famous voice actresses, like Rem's voice actress is here, and obviously she's done a ton of other parts. I recognize Alpha's voice actress a lot as well.
She's just doing power.
And again, she's a very famous one as well. And then yeah, I don't know, it's very it seems like there's a lot of budget being thrown into it for something coming from Studio Nexus, which is not a very big studio. So we'll have to see. I don't know. Well, maybe that means the animation's going to be really shitty. I hope not.
Nexus did Chivalry of a Failed Knight, which is okay.
Yeah, that's solid.
I couldn't tell you. So
It's a good version of the Asterix Wars.
Yes. Yes, it is.
I don't know what that show is either. So.
It's a bad version of Chivalry of the Failed
There you
Knight.
go.
Oh, yeah, shit, now I know. There you go. We've come full circle. There we go. All right. I would say, yeah, watch this if you like isekai. If not, who gives a shit? There you go. Move on.
The main character, I think I'm the only one that watched Misfit at Demon King Academy, but Anos Voldigold vibes, kind of, it looks like, where he's a little bit more like a tactician than just full-forced, bland isekai protagonist who just fights shit. So hopefully it's more like Anos and less like, I don't know, Kirito or something. I had to, sorry. Had to. My bad. Okay, cool. That's our wrap up our non-sequels. We're going to move into, we have 3 sequels that we are going to talk about. The first one is, I think, a show that we all thoroughly enjoyed. That is going to be Spy Family. The second part, it is the Inusan Crisis. So this is going to be like the first real, I'd say, like, mission that we get in terms of Spy Family, where Lloyd is more like in a threat as his like spy with the government, along with the hijinks of Anya and Yor, and then we also get the inclusion of Best Dog Bond. So, gentlemen, I want to get your thoughts on Spy Family Part 2.
Yeah, so I really liked Spy Family Part 1. It's right below Birdie Wing in my all-time anime list. And not even
That's
a lie.
funny. That's just funny.
I
Even
know.
if it's not true, that was funny. So
and I'm excited to see more from the characters. My only qualm with Spy Family Part 1 is that I feel like they didn't really flesh anyone who wasn't Lloyd out well enough. And I think that Part 2 is a great chance to do that. I think Yor is like such an interesting character, but they kind of like only ever made jokes about her being an assassin. We never like saw her kill anyone.
I mean,
after
we did.
the first episode.
There we go. There. Okay.
And so like I would like to see what she's assigned to do, and if it ever conflicts with what Lloyd's trying to do, and like that's like a dynamic that I'm interested in. And right now it doesn't ever seem like that comes up. Obviously Anya is adorable, and I want to see more of her doing psychic shenanigans or whatever and having reaction faces. And I'm excited to meet Bond as well. I don't know if Bond's just a normal dog.
He's not.
Okay. I assumed so because, that's like the whole deal.
It's not a spoiler. Funny. He has clairvoyance.
Wait,
he
what?
can see the
future.
He can see the future. It's so good. It's so fucking funny. God, this show is great.
Did you end up reading the manga for this?
No, I just know that he has clairvoyance.
Okay.
Because I got that It's not again, not really a spoiler because they kind of hinted at it in the first season. Actually,
You'll also find out the first episode of part 2.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to meet Bond. Oh my god.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really excited for this. I'm also excited for the episode where Yuri falls off a cliff and dies and no longer is in the anime. So, I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Good news, he's not really involved in the story too much, so
Thank God. Yeah, he was awful, man. I had Spy Family out of 10 because after watching it because I was so blown away by how much fun I had watching a show on my own, and then I was able to watch it with my family, which ranges from a younger brother to an old 84-year-old grandmother who was able to enjoy Anya. Like it was kind of like a surreal moment that I was watching an anime that so many different people could like. I looked forward to it every Saturday or Sunday that it was airing, and yeah, and then I thought about it more after and how awful. I don't even, yeah, Yuri, like, God, what an annoying, awful character. He alone, and then also Miles had to ruin it for me by bringing up the fact that they also don't explore anyone other than Lloyd, like he kind of said so far, and Miles ruins all fun
yeah,
things.
this is gonna be tough because this is definitely a Lloyd focused arc.
I don't care though because I still love it and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I mean,
I just think
it's really good. I just, it's like I want more. It's so good. I want them to delve into like every character. You know what I mean? Like I need more of it.
You'd expect them to do more. And you're right. They really didn't explore much of your yet. So I'm hoping that'll come up a little more this season. Either way, Bond being the dog's name is just so funny on its own. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait to meet more Bond. Curious about Fiona Frost as well. The
Nightfall. Yep.
Nightfall, whatever. I assume she's supposed to be like interested in Lloyd. Like
yeah, so
the
Nightfall is like Lloyd's spy partner essentially when they have to like do missions, but Nightfall is in love with Lloyd, but she is
right.
what is it? She's like she can't show emotion. She's like a super serious all the time, but she like inside she's like a teenage girl when she sees Lloyd. So it's a pretty funny character.
Oh, that reminds me of like one of the positive things I had on Non-Baka, where there was like the warden or whatever who
that's a perfect example.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Nightfall is very Warden of Non-Baka-esque.
Can't believe that's a positive, but that's fair. But yeah, Anya, give me more Anya. Let's watch more Spy Family, and yeah, as long as they just don't sexualize her like they did in the first one.
Fuck you, Pat.
I still can't believe that was what an awful TikTok that was. That person does not deserve human rights, I think.
Human
like honestly, what a take that someone can have.
No, for sure. So some good things. We already got announced that Bump of Chicken is doing the OP, so they are an elite anime OP opening band. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the full version of the song. It sounded fantastic. The sound design from part 1 was incredible, along with like the OP and ED itself. So I'm expecting that. You want Anna hijinks? We get it, and it's even elevated more because we get Bond, and Bond is attached to the hip with Anya. So we get like a great dynamic between someone who could read minds and someone who could see the future. It's a super fun dynamic. Nightfall is a great addition to the cast as well. I can't wait till when we get the 3rd season, when you get to see Nightfall and Lloyd do their shit. Is the best tournament arc in Shonen. I can't wait, but we're going to have to because God, I can't wait for that arc to happen. But this is I'd say, let me put this in quotations, serious arc, because it deals with like Lloyd trying to save like essentially the world in this crisis that they're dealing with. And Anya gets thrown into it by accident, Yor gets thrown into it by accident, kind of like that happened with season 1. You expect that in season 2 as well. It's a great time. I can't wait. It's probably going to be a 10 for me again because I've read the manga. All the manga's right behind me. I know exactly what's going to happen, and I can't wait. It's super fun. I love Bond. He's such a good boy. And he just makes my heart grow 3 times larger. I'm going to die after this episode. So Yeah, can't wait for Spy Family. I think this is a must watch if you watch part 1. If you haven't watched part 1, go watch it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, just to mirror everything that Pete just said, or echo it, I suppose. Go watch this awesome show. Really excited to see more. Uh, and I expect we'll get more than 2 seasons. And I just kind of wanted it to keep going forever. It's a really, really fun show. And I can't wait. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something to say other than like the show is good and watch it, but I'm out of them. And people know about Spy Family, so go watch Spy Family.
That's fair.
The show is good. Go watch it. All right, let's move on to the show I really, really care
Let's
about.
do it.
Alrighty, everybody. We're moving on to the next sequel, the most important sequel to come out in the history of sequels, other than the other 2 sequels from this series. We're talking Golden Kamuy Season 4. I believe it's been about a year and a half or so since we last got Golden Kamuy. I don't even know what else to say. It's Golden Kamuy. We're going to be seeing dick jokes. We're going to be seeing eating animal brain jokes. We're going to be seeing hinas. We're going to be seeing people peeing on each other's eyeballs to try and like detach them from their suit jacket buttons. Like, we're gonna be seeing what the fuck is going on with Ogata.
What was that sentence?
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Watch Golden Kamuy.
Why are they?
Watch season 3, baby.
I'll just say it because I think Miles will love this, and it's not a spoiler, but basically because, like, believe it or not, when they get separated, when Sugimoto and Asirpa get separated, they get reunited at some point in the show, believe it or not. But when they get reunited, Asirpa hugs Sugimoto, and it's like this super serious, like they've been building the whole season to get to this. They've killed people, been traveling across the Arctic Ocean and the Strait or whatever to get to Russia, and they're hugging, and then they go to pull away. And Asirpa's eyelid has frozen solid, or frozen to one of Sugimoto's buttons on his military jacket, and it becomes a slapstick scene where I think Shiraishi goes, "Oh, let me just pee on it so that it'll warm it up and like cool down." And it's just
that's exactly what happens.
Watch Golden Kamuy. I can't say any more to like back it up.
That's what we call the business peak fiction, right there, baby.
Must watch.
Yeah,
I got nothing else.
I finished season 3. I would say maybe a month ago. The last like 3 or 4 episodes were just like, I need season 4 right now. Ogata and just who he is as a person just continues to grow as a character. I never know what to expect from this cast because I don't know if you could say anybody is necessarily like good or bad, or like what drives them, or like what they're willing to do to get to the gold. It's just so fascinating, and we see that with a couple of characters from the end of season 3, and it's just a wonderful story where I can't believe this isn't tagged as a comedy, to be honest. It's hilarious, but at the same time, it's deep and personal. The bonds that these people have with the adventures that they go on are like that of any like fantastic adventure that I've watched, like A Place Further in the Universe or something like that. The bonds between like Sugimoto and Asripa are just like incredible. I love their bond, and I'm here for the journey. I can't wait for season 4. It's one of my. It's just that this season is so stacked, where this would probably be my most looked forward to sequel, like 9 seasons out of 10. But for this season, it's like my 4th most looked forward to sequel. And that being said, I gave seasons 1 through 3 9. So that being said, I think, yeah, absolute must watch. If you have watched, obviously, if you've watched the first 3 seasons of Golden Kamuy, you're watching season 4. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. Golden Kamuy is a fantastic show.
Ignore the CGI bear or wolf or whatever, and just go watch the fucking show because it's so funny, and it will never let you down. I don't think.
Miles, do you have any chance of you catching up?
No.
Okay, cool. Glad we got there.
Not for this season. Like in my life, sure, but I do like Golden Kamuy. If you like Golden Kamuy, obviously watch it. I'm just too busy watching a Remo for Watch Club.
True. Glad you said that. So yeah, 2 must watches for me and Pat. Miles is a loser, and he's sitting on the bench for this one. So, last but not least, we are getting to Pat's favorite dynamic of a show, that is Psychics. It is a show that I think, yeah, that's right. Take the heads off. I have Mob tattooed.
Yes.
Where's
I'm
my
gonna use the bathroom. Mob Psycho season 3. Go have fun with that. You guys do your thing.
Will do. Pat's gonna go pee while we're recording, and I'm going to show everybody my Mob tattoo. I love Mob Psycho. It's fucking incredible. It's one of my top 10 of all time. I love Mob. Reagan is my favorite anime character ever. I'm so intrigued to know what happens. It's crazy that I haven't been spoiled of what happens next. Miles, where exactly are you on Mob?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously not the Mob fan you are, but I do very much like Mob Psycho, and I'm excited to see more. The characters are so good. The plot and story is interesting, and I think it does a very good job of carrying us along for these characters' journeys and personal growth and all of that. Mob is just such a good boy.
Very good boy.
And I'm excited to see where he goes. And Reagan has had outstanding character development, and I'm excited to see now that he's sort of had that that pivotal moment or whatever, where he goes from here and how the relationship develops now that things are more out in the open, let's say.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch it. I think if you haven't gone and watched Mob Psycho, you're missing out. It's a very good show, very enjoyable, amazing characters, fantastic animation and Sakuga, if that's your type of thing. So definitely check it out. If you like it, season 3 will be waiting for you.
Yep.
You're caught up.
Yep. I think that I do think that this is the only show this season that has a chance for me personally to be anime of the year good enough, where it's going to be not only a 10, but an elite level of what we've gotten this year. I thought season 2 was an absolute masterpiece. It was my anime of the year when it aired. The range is so wide open for what the story can do. They have a lot of the dynamics in the team that Mob is kind of centered around set, and the focus of the main villain of Claw essentially defeated. So I'm really intrigued to see what they're going to do in the 3rd season. Are they going to finish the manga? Are they going to take the adaptation of what's left and finish it? I think so. So I hope it's not rushed, but I can't wait. I love Mob so much. If you are like emotionally attached to the show at all and you watch the OP, it is just incredible in terms of storytelling. This is going to be my most looked forward to show this season. I'm obsessed with Mob. Obviously, you saw the tat. It's going to be just absolutely incredible. Of course, it's a must watch. Yeah, if you haven't watched Mob Psycho, you need to go watch it right now.
Or you don't have to.
No, you do.
You don't care about it.
It's the law. You do. Even if you hate psychics like Pat, there's still so much good about Mob Psycho that doesn't even involve psychics that Miles can attest to as well, where it has nothing to do with their powers. It's like the dynamic like interactions between the characters themselves is more than anything than like the fights.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that. Like they do have powers, and the powers will probably annoy you, but also I think that it really is just a vehicle to do the character work, really, more than anything. Because the characters are really good in the show.
Yeah.
That's definitely the main draw, at least for me.
For sure. That's going to conclude the shows that we are discussing as a group. Gentlemen, are there any other shows that we didn't talk about that you want to mention that you were planning on watching, and just your thoughts on anything else that we missed?
Yeah, so this is the first time since we've been doing this that we didn't cover every show that I might be checking out in a given season. So there are a few shows. Reincarnated as a Sword is an isekai that I am going to be checking out. The light novel is very, very popular. I don't really understand how it'll work, but I'm actually intrigued enough to find out. I'm not necessarily don't think it's something I might like, but I remember being intrigued about it when I heard about the novel, and I want to check out the anime. And I think if you like isekai, it's definitely something that you will like. I would suggest checking that out. There's also Housing Complex C, which is a horror that's coming out that I'm excited about watching. It's spooky season soon.
Yes, sir.
And I love me some horror. Anime does okay job at horror, but I'm down to give this a go, and we'll see how it goes. There's I'm the Villainous, so I'm Taming the Final Boss, which is another sort of fantasy thing, but it reminds me, it's sort of like a romance shoujo-y kind of take on that. Those are becoming more popular since the other Villainous, showed up on the scene, and that's something that I might be checking out. And lastly, there is Four People and Their Respective Lies, which is a comedy that I'm going to be checking out about four friends who have a lie hidden from each other.
That looks great.
Yeah, so I could also see it being awful, but I am excited to watch it.
Pat, how about you?
Nice. I've got a couple shows that just caught my eye. Not necessarily anything that I'd watch though. Or go out of my way to like watch all the way through, unless it turns out to be good. But More Than a Married Couple, but Not Lovers. That art style is kind of nice. I like the color palette. Could be funny, although I feel like when I read the synopsis, I was then like, oh, be that great. Romantic Killer just got announced too, I think, a couple days ago.
Yep.
Seems like it could be fun. It's an ONA, I believe, or something, or OVA. ONA. So it'll be a couple episodes. The show seems interesting. Gamer, cute woman being attracted to someone like a man. This adult romance kind of. That's at least what it seems like. I don't know if it's actually adults or not. I think it is. Oh, it's high schooler. God damn it. All right. Well, either way, maybe it'll be a fun show. Again, like gamer romance. Sometimes they're fun. I'm excited for Bleach getting its next season, not because I care about Bleach, but because it means we're one step closer to Kenshin getting its restart. And then I'm actually excited about a couple movies that are coming out. Obviously, the big one being Makoto Shinkai's next film. I believe it's English.
That's not the big one.
Well, it's the big one for everybody.
Yeah, what's the real big one, Pat?
The real big one for me, of course, is Progressive. Progressive second movie. SAO Progressive second movie coming. Scherzo the Deep Night. Delayed a little bit, but that's coming soon too. Then lastly, there's this interesting thing going on where two different studios are working on a movie, but they're two different movies. One is called To the Only Me Who Loved You, and the other one is called To All of You That I Loved. And it's got the same main guy, two different girls, and you look at the cover art of both, and it's like a reflection, and it's supposed to be something about parallel worlds or something. And I don't know, I'm fascinated by this. I don't know if I'll like it or not, because I don't usually love supernatural stuff, but it sounds interesting at the very least. So yeah, there you go. That's my things to watch out for this season.
Right on. Along with everything that they said, a couple of the things that I'll be checking out, the Urusei Yatsura, essentially getting the Fruit Basket remake. It is a classic that is getting a full adaptation. It's 46 episodes. I'm looking forward to checking that out, since I don't really know anything about that. That was before my time type of thing. And the fact that it's getting fully remastered, and it's cool. It has a cool, if you watch like the PV, it looks like it's made in the 90s, but it's polished where it looks like it was made in 2022. So I like that dynamic. It'd be really interesting to see how the art is. Akiba Maid War. It is about maids, cafe maids in Akihabara, I think essentially going to war with each other. I believe it's a comedy. It isn't tagged since it's an original, but the premise of that looks hilarious. Eternal Boys. It is a story about 6 middle-aged men who failed in their life, so they become a boy band. Really looking forward to Eternal Boys, especially since we're getting 2 cores. I have no idea how that is going to be portrayed, but the premise is just, it's perfect. Love Flops. It's a rom-com, so I'm gonna watch it. I have no idea what it's about. It's a rom-com original. And last but not least is Bocchi the Rock, which is a musical anime of like 4 girls starting a band. Wasn't originally going to watch this, but the PV came out a few days ago. being made by Cloverworks, it looks significantly better than what I thought it was going to be. The character interactions that I like in terms of like cute girl comedy, something like Hitori Bochi or Asobi Asobase, they have that dynamic and characteristics in that comedy sense that I really enjoy. So if you like that style of comedy, I think we're going to get that with Bochi the Rock, except it's going to be more slice of life / musical, but the comedy in the PV was wonderful. So those are some of the other ones I'm going to check out, along with everything else that I even think we covered. There's like 6 more shows that I think I'm going to be watching, at least giving it a chance. Like the ASMR one, like I'm sure I'm going to drop that, but I'm going to give it a shot. It'll be really interesting to see how that one goes. So
You're going to give the ASMR one a shot?
I am going to give it a shot.
Okay.
Yeah. You know why, Miles? Because
why?
I'm trash. And I've embraced,
fair enough. Yeah, it's
At least he owns it.
And
yeah,
I have embraced the trash. So
yeah.
I literally think I have 26 shows on my plan to watch next season. So the beauty of, maybe it's not the beauty, but living in Minnesota, it's cold, can't go outside that much. I can watch a lot of anime. So I'm really looking forward to the fall. So gentlemen, before we head out, any last thoughts or things you want to get off your chest before we go bye-bye?
Don't watch the ASMR anime, people.
Probably don't do that. Cool. Awesome. If you have made this far and you want to support us, the best way to do so, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you are watching or listening to us on. Normally, I would recommend you checking out our episodes. Next week, maybe skip it because we're watching a Rebo, and I don't know if I want to recommend people watching our podcast for Remo. But if you like a Rebo, check out the podcast next week. Otherwise, in 2 weeks, we will be doing the review of the finishing up summer anime. So I'm really looking forward to talking about shows like Made in Abyss, how that is my probably front runner for anime of the year. It's just absolutely incredible. And surprise shows like the Yakuza Babysitter show. So if you're looking forward to that, hopefully you wrap up all your summer anime by then and check out our review. So Miles and Pat, thank you so much for joining me, and everybody else, we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.